Today, Alaskans are standing up and speaking up. I'm Malcolm Roberts, a member of a group called Backbone. It's a band of brothers and sisters, Alaskan patriots committed to ensure that Alaska's commonly owned oil and gas resources are used as mandated by our Constitution, and what's the quote? For the maximum benefit of its people. We are here to protest the giveaway dreamed up and designed by the big three oil producers and being shoved down our throats by Governor Sean Parnell. That nice young man with the mouth that smiles and the steely eyes. Staggering as it is to grasp, our governor is determined to give our over $1 billion of a year of our oil wealth to the big three. With no commitment on their part to invest our money in Alaska to increase oil exploration and production here. And first of all, David Gottstein. We know David, a lifelong Alaskan from a respected Alaskan family who, along with late Governor Wally Hickel, all right, my boss and friend and colleague for nearly 40 years, founded Backbone in 1999 to stop BP's attempted monopoly of the North Slope and taps. David, you're on.
Thank you, Malcolm. I just have a few words, and it's wonderful to see you all here. No taxation, relaxation without production representation. We should not be betting our whole economic future on a reckless and risky bet on hope. Hope that the oil companies will invest the billions of dollars that would be necessary for the state to make a profit on its tax giveaway investment. 25% drop in the price we charge for our oil requires a 33% increase in production in order to just break even, with no plan to get there. Nada. I think the oil companies have this figured out. They get a guaranteed rate of return, and we get a guaranteed loss. With no downside or insurance protection for Alaska, we take the downside risk and give away the upside reward. Why can't we be that smart? Why? Because they're not that stupid. We should slow things down long enough to get the information needed to make good decisions instead of hasty, bad decisions. The major oil companies are stampeding the legislature, peppered with oil industry employees, their spouses, and other oil industry beneficiaries into making good business decisions for them, but bad decisions for the state of Alaska and its residents. Passage of the tax giveaway Senate Bill 21 was by the thinnest of margins possible, with the last two deciding votes needed for passage having come from ConocoPhillips employees themselves. There is no spin or Senate procedure inside or outside of the legislature that can make that conflict of interest innocent or smell good. Let's slow things down long enough to get the information we need to make good investment decisions about our future, and not rush into foolish and panic-based the sky is falling decisions. We can find better ways to further encourage new exploration and new production through smart taxation policies, instead of giving billions of dollars away that we can't afford on production in the old legacy fields that would be produced anyway. That's simply crazy. Anybody who is more worried about the people of Alaska than they are about BP, Conoco, and Exxon's shareholders would and should know better. Our whole future is at stake. We'll be depleting the permanent fund in less than 10 years if SB 21 passes and hope doesn't magically turn into prosperity. Well, we can't bet our children's future just on hope alone. We can't afford to give our resources away so cheaply. This is about millions of dollars of outside money coming to Alaska to take billions of your dollars outside. We can't afford to be stampeded by the oil company influence. We have to slow things down, get the information we need, and get this right. Because it's our oil.
It's our oil!
Because it's our future. Because it's the right thing to do. No taxation, relaxation without production, representation. Thank you, Malcolm.
And now we have the pleasure hearing from one of the women in the Alaska Women's Hall of Fame, Katie Hurley.
Fellow Alaskans, as we've rallied to protest the giveaway of billions of dollars, as we stand together to reject a blatant attempt to appease outside interests, I think of the generation that fought for and won statehood for our beloved Alaska. The leadership we had in those days was phenomenal. These were wise and wonderful people who put Alaska first.
That's right.
But it took more than a few leaders to win the battle. It was both the leadership and the ordinary people who won the day. Don't underestimate the power of the people, and don't underestimate your power as an individual. At the Constitutional Convention in 1955, it was the first time in Alaska that people from small populated areas had the opportunity to serve. Those delegates were bonded by a common goal and acted unselfishly. That's what we have here today. Come on, Alaska, speak up to your neighbors, speak up to your legislators, speak up to the media. Previous generations stood up to outside interests, wrote a model constitution, and won statehood. The result is the wonderful state we have today. It's up to us to preserve and improve what they created for the benefit of the next generation.
And now let's hear from that next generation. Cesar Martinson is a lifelong Alaskan. He lives 6 blocks from here, and he's a junior at UAA. Cesar.
A big thank you to everyone who's come out today to defend the sovereignty of the state of Alaska. As a political science major at the University of Alaska, Anchorage, one of the things that I've always done has been a student of history. 100 years ago, John D. Rockefeller had corrupted the halls of Congress and numerous state legislatures with his unethical and illegal influence. A small band of Americans gathered together and said they would not live under corporate dictatorship. They helped get Theodore Roosevelt into the White House, and they broke up Standard Oil. In that spirit, we have gathered here today to send a message to Governor Parnell and to the other people in the Alaska legislature that have decided that the oil industry will rule this state and not the people of Alaska. And I say hell no to that. We are dealing with a fiscal crisis on our hands if Senate Bill 21 passes. As a student at the University of Alaska Anchorage, I can tell you that we're looking at our tuition going up 600% if the governor's bill passes. And the funny thing about this is, we hear from Andrew Hallcrow, we hear from other people representing the oil industry, all they talk about is fiscal certainty, fiscal stability, but yet they're going to bankrupt the state with their oil tax plan. And in the words of David Gottstein, will demand that if the industry gets any tax breaks, they will increase production. Thank you all for being out here, and keep up the fight.